and welcome to Red Stain Radio, a Dead by Daylight podcast. I am one of your hosts, Madison, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Stevie and Bryson. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have reading week soon, so I get to relax for once.
Time off from school. That's good.
Yes. This is episode 33 of Red Stain Radio. This one's a little bit more low-key, a little more chill, because today we're going to be going over the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly of Dead by Daylight. So, what that means basically is we're going to be kind of going over, like, Dead by Daylight's greatest hits and kind of, like, flaws, but also, like, attributes that we love and or hate. So this one is going to be a little more chill, and we're just going to talk about stuff that we've been wanting to talk about that's kind of miscellaneous, I would say. And just
doesn't really fall underneath one umbrella.
Exactly.
No, yeah, this is a general banter type episode.
Exactly. However, before we get into that, we always have our beautiful little housekeeping. We have some pretty big news. That being, we're hosting a 2v8 community nights in our Discord server on Friday, February 13th. So when this is posted, you have 2 days to get prepared. And all you have to do is go to the Discord and be there at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, if you're not at that time, that's fine, because we'll be playing for a few hours. But if for some reason you missed that night, which totally okay, we're not mad, we're not angry, we're just a little upset. We'll be hosting another night for 2v8s on February 17th, starting at 7 p.m. at Eastern Standard Time. So you can join the server to join other Survivor friends or to find another killer to duo with. And just a great way to make new friends or just talk with people if you're feeling a little down, a little lonely, or if you just want to talk to other Dead by Daylight fanatics like us. And you're more than welcome to invite your friends to the server to join us as well. So yeah, if you want to join us, please do. Remember, that is going to be February 13th and the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Additionally, we are going to be asking you guys to maybe go out and check out our YouTube channel, go subscribe, hit that like button, all that stuff. We're going to be pushing some content on there and trying to add some new stuff, including maybe some 2v8 stuff when we do that on the 13th and the 17th.
Hint, hint.
No, but for real, this is going to be your ideal way to play 2v8. You want to join low-key matches with Survive with Friends. We're going to fill lobbies. Everyone's going to be learning it all at the same time. And you can actually sit in a call with someone you're duoing. That way you can play killer and not feel like you're alone in 2v8.
Exactly.
And if you can't make it at the time, 7 p.m., I think we said,
yes,
you can show up later. Like, we'll be running, like Maddie said, a few hours, probably well in to the night. If the vibes are good, they'll definitely be good. It's 2v8. And if you are an introvert, don't feel like you have to talk. You could just sit in the call and just be there and chill. You don't have to, because I know I'm an introvert sometimes, so totally get it.
Exactly. And hey, there's text chat too, if that's more comfortable. You can just send a little winky XD semicolon smiley face.
Send them
I
gifts.
did that a lot when I was getting into multiplayer games, so no judging here. Whatever makes y'all comfortable. Alrighty. So we have one more little housekeeping thing, and this one's a bit more Dead by Daylight news related. The Grimoire, my baby, it got some updates. Specifically, we have our 3 winners for the 3 rounds.
Yes.
Ladies, I need a drum roll, please, because we have a winner of our Survivor face.
Dun, dun,
drum roll,
dun,
please. The winner is...
I don't know how a drum roll will pick up on my mic.
That's coming.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
There you go.
The winner is the old lady. The alternative girl lost by kind of a close percent. It was 56%, I believe, for the old lady.
It was pretty close.
The 44 for the old girl. So we finally have an elderly woman in our game. Let's go.
And if you're listening to this a year from now, tell us if you main her right now. Is she everything she looks like she's going to be?
Eve. I'm going to call her Eve.
Yeah, we don't know her name yet.
Currently unnamed Grimoire Tome Survivor lady.
Ooh. Well, On top of knowing who our survivor is going to look like, we also got the mood board, which was the church one with the stained glass windows, books, candles, and the telescope. And it seems a bit more like fantastical slash religious versus the more
Yeah.
scientific one or the more medical one. And the fourth one that I'm going to be honest, I don't think anyone really cared for because I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
There was kind of like the mechanics workshop, and then there's like the research outpost with like a
Yeah, the
tent.
tent. That's the one I
Yeah.
voted for.
Yeah,
I voted for
the
this one. I
medical
voted for the books
I
one.
thought it was
I
cool.
thought books made the best studious spiritual investigator. So
Yes.
library and books
Yes.
for Grimoire Granny.
And then for the final vote for the Grimoire that we got results on, it was the killer material. There's a lot of good ones, in my opinion. Like, I was having trouble to choose one. But in the end, we got probably the most unique one, which is the killer skin is blue with gold and white stone adornments. And in my words in the notes for the show, I'm blue, dabby die, frowny face.
Blue.
I'm blue. Why are you
I
blue?
saw all four of the like killer skin options, and I thought to myself, like, I actually don't care which one wins. These are all fucking cool.
Yeah, they're all good.
They're heat, if you will. So yeah, our killer's going to be blue. Interesting. How curious.
Part of me was like, it feels a little bit like I'm gonna spoil myself as a Warframe enjoyer back in the past, but it looks very Orican. Like,
yes,
it looks like the infested Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like that mix of gold and flesh with a little bit of energy circling through it. It's fun.
Okay, you find the scene in my head now. Now I'm expecting them to have the one long hand and just being blue and evil. Okay. You're cooking here, Stevie. You're cooking. Okay. Moving on from that.
Grimoire Killer is Ballas. Oh no.
Stop it. You're making my Warframe enjoyer brain going like, I gotta talk about it instead. Moving on to the topic of the show, we're gonna be talking about the good, the great, the bad, and the ugly. And this is gonna be going around like Red Robin style, listeners and viewers. So basically, we're all gonna talk about one thing we like, one thing we don't like, one thing we really like, and one thing we really don't like. So there's no better way to start this, I think, than just getting into the good. So we're gonna start off with Stevie. Tell us, what is the good of Dead by Daylight, in your opinion?
This for me is an easy freaking question. It's the players. Ooh. When I first got hooked on Dead by Daylight, it's because I realized the majority of the people playing this are just like queers and women who love horror and kind of just found this as the best outlet for it. To enjoy horror, you kind of have to love like freaky stuff. And those are my people. People that love freaky stuff are my people. I frequently see that like the toxic people are the like main focus of when people talk about the player base, because like, you know, endgame chats, weirdos who are playing in a distasteful way. But it's like, that's never what most people are doing. My personal experience is just that anytime I reach out to another player, anytime I play a game with someone and I'm just playing to my heart's content, they're doing the same. It's very rarely that I see somebody who isn't just kind of indifferent to the whole experience, somebody who's just playing in a way that they don't really consider other people. They're just kind of existing in their own bubble. But if you reach out to them and you're friendly, like off the first foot, TBD players are some of the nicest people. And little evidence that is our Discord. They're super sweet people, and they all gathered because they know that's the place to be. And I love having wholesome endgame chats. I love playing friendly and having people recognize it. And I love people having, you know, super creepy and super cool profiles. I love the way people express themselves in this game. And it's a lot of creative folks who love it. That's my good side of DBD.
I 100% agree with that. I love the community because there are toxic people, sadly, in any game, and Dead by Daylight certainly has. They're a handful, but like you said, Stevie, there's a lot of like people out there who are just really nice, and there's a lot of freaky people, but like in the good way, and not like in the
the why good are they freaks,
the way? Like in the okay, we're all freaks together. Like it's kind of like it with the losers. Like, you know, it's like wow.
Yeah, you said it. You said it so well, and in terms of it also being a very LGBTQ focused
And
community. Like I don't know any other video game community that is that way. At least at the
Yeah,
top of
with
my
like
head.
free cosmetics for everyone that let you just have a very, very visual Pride banner. And
Yeah.
exactly.
a lot of
That's
games
not
would shy away from it for any number of reasons, whether or not it just doesn't fit their aesthetic or devs don't want to take a stance on something,
Or even
as
like the
innocuous.
current political climate, which we have seen,
I was gonna say.
game companies
Yeah.
kind of backtrack their pride events or like giveaways or just free stuff, like things that, you know, before I guess you could have said we took it for granted, but at the same time, even then it felt like picking up, grasping at straws, trying to get some form of representation. But to see DBD really lean into it, and I know we've mentioned on here before, I would love a pride focused event. Like I think that's something they've said they've talked about and considered,
I
but
feel
we
like
just haven't
they've done
gotten that
a
yet.
couple that they've supported, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
June will roll around and they're like, all their socials are like, hey, go check out this community organized,
Yeah.
Queer Pride Month DBD creator thing. So they're definitely, it's on their radar, and like
Yeah.
they're not gonna support their community.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So
I
even
was
if
going to
there's
say
no
the Arella Rose Cosmetics being the earnings for that went towards um, trans organizations in Toronto or somewhere in Canada that they donated those to when she came
Hmm.
out. That was really cool.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I just really love how they include like different ethnicities and cultures and sexualities in the game too. Like even though it's sad that we only have David, Orella, and Susie, sorry, for our canonical in-game, like in lore, like base Dead by Daylight lore, queer characters. We have it's better than most AAA games where they're like, this is Soldier 76, he is gay, and we have Tracer. Tracer's a good one, but I could go on about why I don't like soldiers coming out versus Tracer, who I love. That's a whole story. That's a whole story. But to get back on topic, I just like how Dead by Daylight actually has queer inclusion, and they're not afraid to say, oh, they could be gay. They're like, yeah, they're gay. And I
Mhm.
love that we have so many different ethnicities and cultures that aren't normally like included in video games. Like, for example, the one I really like when I think about cultures not really talked about is with Thailand and the Krisu and V, and just how awesome it was included and how accurate and just it was just so awesome, and it had so much aura and I loved it so much. And like Dead by Daylight, it's one of those games where that can only really happen because it focuses on horror, yes, but also horrors in different worlds and different cultures and different like just groups of people. And I think that's really awesome.
Like it's what's
So,
scary to one person is scary to another, and like
Exactly.
oh
it's
yeah,
great. Oh my god.
and that's why
Yes.
we have such a wide spectrum of killers too. Like we
Exactly.
have the trickster who is very K-poppy, but there's a bit of horror in terms of where his music comes from, and then we have the opposite of the spectrum where it's Dredge and the unknown. You have like this body horror, cosmic horror vibe that is just otherworldly, and it's cool that you can have that spectrum in such a cool kind of in just this game in general. So
Yes.
Like
Alrighty. I will say
yes,
my
yes.
good because it's kind of
Pull
close to
yours.
what we just talked about.
it is,
And that's
yes.
Dead by Daylight putting their own twist on themes slash horror concepts. So specifically, let's look at I don't know. Who should we look at? Let's look at I don't know. Let's look at Rafe. Rafe is the ghost of Dead by Daylight, I'd say, before the spirit and the ghost phase. And the way they implemented him, I think, was really unique. He's got this bell, he's got this skull of the person who kind of ruined his life as his weapon, and he hits the bell to go invisible, and it's audible for everyone to be like, oh, he's invisible. You don't know where he is, but he's coming for you. No other character I can think of does that. That's just really spooky to think about. And looking at more recent killers, like the Plague, she's based on religious themes, but she's not like a nun coming into battle with like a shotgun. No, no, no. She's based on ancient Babylonian culture, and she's coming out swinging with an incense burner as she pukes on you. That's cool. That's awesome. So many unique concepts that we don't really get to see are just implemented. Like I was already talking about how Thai culture in video games, for me, I don't really see a lot of it, but with the Krisu and V, I think they did an amazing job. Just thinking of some art concepts, the spirit and the Oni who kind of take on like Japanese yokai stuff. I think it was really cool how they did the Oni just being this giant, I'm gonna beat you to death with my stick, getting blood like a vampire. And then the spirit's like, oh, I'm all dismembered and dead and I'm a ghost, but I do like hauntings. I disappear and come after you. I just think that's really cool. I love how Dead by Daylight takes a concept and makes it unique. Like even when they have the licensed stuff, I think they do a really good job putting their own twist on it. Like with Springtrap, he does basically nothing in the games that would say, oh, that would be his power in Dead by Daylight. Like he goes through vents
It's
and
real.
he
It's
shambles
real.
around. They gave him a fucking fire axe, which I think is dumb, but it's still cool, I have to admit. And he's got the doors. You would not think he would have fucking security doors in Dead by Daylight like 2 years ago, but now
And
he
that
does.
survivors could traverse them themselves as well.
Exactly. And there's the jump scare element of like him grabbing the axe from you if he gets close, or if he catches you when you're running from door to door. I think that's really cool. I just love how Dead by Daylight does that. I'm done yapping. I'm opening the floor for you.
I think you're nailed something. Like they spin out and take something you already know and love and kind of inject all this flesh and meat and blood and soul underneath the hood of it. Like we take those licensed characters. Like Bubba didn't have a video game before something like, you know, the Texas Chainsaw game, but he didn't exist in a video game at all either before Dead by Daylight. I mean, he might have. Don't get me wrong. There were probably like some Easter eggs here and there.
He was in Mortal. He was in one of the Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
I think
Kombat.
that was after.
Yep.
I think that was after.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
MKX, I believe. Not MKX.
But like that's a skin for like any fighter could have done that, right?
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat just kind of makes a fighter and then says, who do we make them look like? Dead by Daylight does the other way. They say, who can we get? And then how do we make them a fighter?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame that, you know, Bubba's the example with the least meat on those bones under the hood. But something like Springtrap, there's nothing to that guy other than him screaming into your ear or, you know, screaming into a voice recorder that you're listening to later or screaming at you in your hallway but now he actually, you know, hits you with a fire axe and then screams at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, behavior is really good at subverting expectations. You know, we talked about the Houndmaster a few weeks ago, and she is a pirate, you know, and not a stereotypical pirate in any means. Like they very much put their own spin on it. They very much do their research and make it their own. And we see that in a lot of different ways. You know, a lot of people were wanting a vampire for the longest time and like, oh, just make your own vampire. No, we're going to license it and we're going to make it a Castlevania collab. Like what an incredible and unique way of doing that. I don't think anyone expected that at all. A Castlevania collab in Dead by Daylight. Like that is, first of all, that franchise has just been kind of dormant aside from the Netflix show. And then we have the Dead Cells crossover. But like crazy to see that come to like a 3D kind of video game. Like it's pretty incredible. So yeah, they really know how to implement things that we expect, but also create surprises and do it in their own way to make it fresh and fun a lot of the time. And I really have to commend them for that. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Maddie.
Yeah, especially with when I remember this killer got everyone thinking super hard was when Chucky got teased with the kitchen knife and his teaser, and everyone was like, how is he gonna work? How is this gonna put he gonna put people on the hook? I remember when everyone was like, how the fuck is he gonna do that?
And then his ghost just comes up and picks him up, and he carries like incredible creativity there. And yeah, the Chucky, like people are like, oh, they're never gonna do Chucky. He's too small. And I mean, they did him really well. Like he's I think he's fun to play against. I think he's fun to play as. And yeah, I know a lot of people that at the beginning thought he's overpowered. I can't see them. Now you don't hear that really much, and because people learn how to play against new killers, and that third person perspective was just very unique. Yeah, they did an incredible job with Chucky.
Well, Bryson, you have a lot to talk about licenses, which I feel like kind of, you know, goes along with what your good is. Why don't you tell us what your good for Dead by Daylight is?
Yeah, my good is sort of a twofer, and that is cosmetics and licensed character likenesses. I think they've done a really good job of. I'll touch on cosmetics first. I think the majority of the cosmetics they've released recently, both in the rifts and in the store, have been extremely well done. Like I think they look really good. I think their designs look great. Yes, the last rift was pretty lackluster in terms of cosmetics. While while they weren't not my jam, I did really enjoy, or they appeared to have really good quality behind them. Like they weren't my cup of tea. And yes, you got a lot of recolors, which was the problem with that rift. But I think the cosmetics overall, like Claudette's hair, yes, they took the time to get that out and we have it now, but they took the time and it came out really good. Like it's really detailed and it's got all these, these bows and curls and stuff in it. So, but they've just done a really good job. And the riff now we have the flashback with the Stranger Things thing. Like the two cosmetics in there, the Dredge one and the Gabriel someone are exceptional. Tomorrow we're getting a nurse. Tuesday when 2VA comes out, we're getting the nurse and we're getting the Tori cosmetics. Those look amazing. The like ethereal Eldridge collection, like they've just been knocking it out of the park in terms of the types of cosmetics. Yes, they have misses like that Dredge cosmetic, the ghost sheet one.
Don't remind me. Oh.
But for the most part, I think the majority of them are really good. Like they continue to convince me to buy Auric Cells to buy these cosmetics. Like that Tory one tomorrow, I'm probably gonna get.
This is true. I'm same boat.
Like their art department and their cosmetics department just do a really bang up job creating cosmetics that people want to wear and buy. So before I go to any of the character likenesses, do you all want to comment on cosmetics?
The cosmetics have me hooked. It's in my veins. I boot it up and I'm like, wow. They release a new cosmetic pack that has some of my favorite skin themes with 2 new characters that I play regularly. Let me just buy those instantly.
I have 2 cards.
I feel it. I feel it every single time, and I'm like, I don't want to spend money on the DLCs until they're on sale. I'll wait for that. But as soon as a skin comes out for a character I play, I want them all.
Yeah, I totally get that, because the amount of times I've like gone to a character and I'm like, I have to not look at the shop tab because I want to buy a skin then. Like that literally happened with me, like with V a couple weeks ago, I think. I was looking at her like, oh, I want to main her, I think. And then I was looking for cosmetics. I was like, okay, she's really cute. I ended up buying the Hellfire Club shirt. I bought pants with iridescent shirts, and then I spent money to get the like her in a ponytail, which I thought was really cute. And now I main V and I have a new outfit. So it's like that. It's like that.
Yeah, and they have this special, I don't know, they have it down where they're going to create really good cosmetics for characters people are devoted to. Like for myself, I'm devoted to Alan Wake and Ripley. So if they get new cosmetics, I'm buying them day one, or even a Xenomorph. Like, and a Xenomorph's gotten all these original cosmetics. Like Xenomorph only has like 2 or 3 movie-based cosmetics, and the rest are all original. Like, first of all, that's incredible that Disney has let them do that. Also, second of all, they're all really good. Like they're all really like, yes, I like some more than others, but they're all just bangers after another. Like we have a blighted Xenomorph, like incredible. Like they just know the material really well, and they execute on it perfectly. So yeah, I love that. And then secondly, character likenesses. So I kind of bundled these together because they're sort of in the same realm. But I think recently, this year especially, they've really nailed down adapting a character's likeness. We haven't had that in the past, but we've really got it down to Michonne looks great. Rick mostly looks great. Daryl looks great. Maggie looks great. And like now, most recently, the first, New Vecna, Dustin 11, they all look exceptional. The first, especially, just his base cosmetic, and even his Henry cosmetic in the Rift looks really good. And they look just like their actors, despite their actors not reprising their roles for the voices. And beyond that, in terms of killers, like you have the Krisu and you have Springtrap, who just all look just aesthetically pleasing. Like I think, like I don't know much about Springtrap, but that version of Springtrap just looks really fucking good, like satisfying.
To the point where that version is pointed to as like the canonical. This is what Springtrap would ideally look like if Scott Cawthorn was better at his game
I was going to say, because he sucks at modeling real people, because he literally makes them look like freaking fresh flesh golems, and it's so creepy, but like not in a creepy way, like oh that's scary. Like what?
It's
That is not a
creepy on
creepy.
like a bad level creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the way that Dead by Daylight did it, like actually making an anatomically correct human underneath was really cool.
Hmm.
Even has the ankle guts, which don't make sense but are iconic to him.
Ankle guts
Ankle
forever.
guts.
But yeah, like, as someone who's never played a FNAF game and I don't have any preconceived knowledge of what this character is going to look like, his model just looks really fucking good. Like, it's a rotting animatronic. You can tell there's flesh underneath. You can see the dead man inside the mask when he
He makes
roars
a
at you.
lot of noise when he moves
Yeah,
around. He's like
Yeah,
laboring.
it's a clunk.
they've just knocked it out of the park of adapting and even creating original killer designs. And so the Creusot also looks really fucking good. So I want to commend them for that. They've done an exceptional job. Of course, not always perfect. Like I mentioned, Rick is not the greatest. I think he could use a little touch up, but they just reworked Nancy's face and Nancy looks better than ever. Like that was after a couple iterations. They got face scans from Netflix. They're doing a really, really good job.
Alrighty. Well, we've praised the behavior enough. I think it's time to shit on them. No.
Yeah, yes,
I
please.
think it's time to kind of look at the opposite side of Dead by Daylight reputation. Now it's time to look at the bad. So,
There we go.
Evie, why don't you start us off? What is
Who's
the
up?
bad of
Who's
Dead by
up?
Daylight?
The bad is, in my opinion, how old this game has gotten is a problem. The technical debt is the term I think thrown around the most for something like this that I'm talking about. Just the fact that this game was developed and released 2016.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. It's got like a very dusty exterior to it. I feel like playing a 10-year-old game every single time I'm, actually in match. Like the UI and the promos for everything make me think it's like a modern game, but I don't know, when I'm like in game and I'm seeing characters like swivel around and like healing animations happening, it really makes me just realize I'm playing like a little video game.
Yeah.
It to me feels like I'm still playing like an old version of like a PvP game that like people have kind of been grinding, if that makes sense. It's like akin in my brain to like Counter-Strike got its Counter-Strike 2 update. Overwatch has its Overwatch 2 now, and I'm just sitting on my hands waiting for Dead by Daylight to get the same treatment, and it's probably never gonna come. But I don't know how long the current Dead by Daylight can exist if it's just going to keep ballooning. There's nowhere for it to kind of go other than further out into the like far reaches of space and consume every single media property within it. And at that point, I don't think it can really hold how many perks are going to get added, how many killers are going to be present. When it first came out, it was like a handful of perks, a couple dozen, and they had plans to add a few more, but like what's 1 or 2 characters to our already 3 killers and 4 survivors? But now like what's 36 killers to our already 3 killers? What's 100 perks every few years? And that gets a little hard to balance and learn and play around and all exist at the same time. When I think about like PvP games where people are like picking heroes, picking champions, picking characters from like a set list, this list is kind of like fine-tuned. Every character has a reason you're picking them over another, or they have a way to play into each other character. Dead by Daylight has kind of missed that whole learning step, and every killer plays wildly different. And every killer is a product of the year it was released, when they had a certain amount of balancing and technical knowledge. Everything feels like its own little island along a map on the timeline that Dead by Daylight was made. From like, older character face models to like newer reworked ones. Nancy getting her touch up versus like Nia's face.
Exactly, yeah.
It's very different. The way Trapper plays versus the way Henry plays is the most distinct thing ever. And part of me likes it in like that, like it's a nostalgic way. We'll never lose Trapper because he's the oldest thing possibly existing in the game. But I don't think Trapper is gonna do anything other than get left behind as the game goes on.
Yeah.
We need a Dead by Daylight 2 before Trapper's viable again. That type of thing.
To kind of build on that point, I think another
Yeah.
important distinction is that when Behavior made Dead by Daylight, they did not expect this game to last more than a year. They were not expecting to be a live service game that people would play every single day with 40,000 people playing daily, roughly. They expected this to be like, here's a fun game, people play it, it's gone, okay, whatever. And that kind of reflects what the engine they used. I believe they used Unreal Engine, which is a good game developer tool, but it's not great for like a multiplayer game, which is why for games that are designed to be multiplayer for like years upon years of like service, like Overwatch or World of Warcraft, they're designed with their own specific engine. However, Behavior didn't. They were designed with a certain model. They used their own unique model for that game because it was designed to be updated, to update graphically, update gameplay, and to just be something that can last several years. But with Dead by Daylight, they used Unreal Engine, which is not really designed for that because they always release a new engine that's better like every couple of years. And I think now we're at like Unreal Engine 6 or 7 or like 8. Don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Hold it in.
But
I think we're on 5 though.
Yeah, but
I think it's 5.
Dead by Daylight is like 1 or 2 versions behind. And it's just kind of like they didn't really expect it, so I can't really blame them. But I definitely feel like there's 2 options. One, they have to make their own engine, which is not really super expensive, but also super time expensive. So like you have to spend a lot of time for that. So that's unlikely. The other version is to just go to the latest version of Unreal Engine and pray that it doesn't change quickly, which is not so great either.
Every time they change it, it changes so many things. They're pulling so much behind them every time they change engines.
So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where it's, do we make an entire new game that's basically our same game and we won't get any money but will help us in the long term? Or do we do the easier solution that's just going to be a problem later again? Like, there's not a lot, sadly.
We know what they're going to do.
And we know what they're going to do, yeah. Who knows? It's year 10. Maybe they'll surprise us. Be like, we're releasing Dead by Daylight 2. It's free. It's like Overwatch.
Or even if it wasn't free, I would be okay with a $10 upgrade or a $5 upgrade. Like we are relaunching, and not that it would be a sequel. It'd be obviously it'd be a relaunch ideally. Like I've brought up in the past, Rainbow Six Siege, or like, Warzone relaunches every few years based on the new Call of Duty, whatever. Like it would be very much an upgrade, but this version would ideally be built from the ground up. And Maddie, like you mentioned, they didn't have the success of this game. They didn't expect that. They didn't have in mind that this game would last 10 years. It was developed by a very small dev team who wasn't all that experienced, and so that's why we have the spaghetti code that is the foundation of the game. They had weird workarounds for things that they didn't really know how to code for. Now that's what we have. And so ideally a sequel or a reboot would be built from the ground up with those foundations in mind, because as you mentioned, Stevie, you don't know how this can go on for another 10 years. And realistically, it won't go on for another 10 years if they do not re-stabilize their foundation in some way. And I'm not a game developer. I don't have experience in game development, but I cannot imagine that the continuous perk bloat, killer bloat, all this game is ballooning, as you mentioned, and that's not sustainable. Like it needs something. I don't know what that is. I don't want to gut content because that's not fun for new players who are discovering the game, but it's just not, and I'll get into it later with some of my points, my uglies and my bads. Like perks are a problem. Like there are so many perks right now, and where do you start? Some of them are redundant. Some of them are just plain like useless. Like why would I ever run something like that? So
road life.
Yeah, there's just like where, and maybe we should bring in a game dev who can kind of walk us through maybe what this process might look like. But we've all touted a relaunch or a sequel, like Overwatch 2 is dropping the 2, but like that game is very much still Overwatch, and it's it's baffling to see that they have not said anything to us in terms of plans or what the future looks like other than new content, which I don't want to get into that yet because that's kind of something I have to bring up later. But yeah, it's a big problem for this game, and it's definitely bad. It's definitely bad for the longevity, for the player base, for the enjoyment of it. Like it's a
And
bad.
I fear what that looks like in the end game is that they just keep releasing content at a pace that they expect to be ever increasing.
Yeah.
And as soon as it stops being, financially feasible, they're just going to stop outright. And the game will be put on life support, and they'll just have to keep putting the stitches back together on a game where they're popping. And they will have, sadly had to stop adding things because they just hit a wall.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually there's going to be a point when the game stops being added to. But I want them to have the ship to jump to. I want them to have something else.
Realistically, they did say they want this game to go for another 10 years, so I think they have something in mind, something planned. If I had to make a guess, they're probably going to be decreasing the number of perks released with a survivor and killer. If not, they might just stop releasing perks altogether for certain chapters. Like maybe for original ones, they won't include any, which would be a big controversy. I can see behavior doing that, sadly. But additionally, I could also see them reducing the number of killers and survivors released, but increasing content updates that include like base game updates, big perk shakeups, new events, new shop cosmetics, stuff like that. Not great, but kind of like that, if that makes sense.
What if they like release killers and survivors in the future that have other like older perks on them? So now like Pop Goes the Weasel is now a perk that you can get from 2 different killers.
Ooh,
You don't have to buy Clown, you can buy the
that'd be
fucking
kind of interesting.
Carnival Magician.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Here's a possible. This is kind of inspiration from a gotcha game, so this is probably not a good idea. But what they could do is that with the character, it comes with a different version of the same perk. So maybe it's like Pop Goes the Weasel Entity Touch, and it would be like instead of hooking somebody, you simply have to down somebody. However, instead of the generator losing progress, it gets blocked for 20 seconds or something.
Oh, that's a whole
So
new
you could
perk.
have like the same perk, and if you got that perk, you
Okay.
got those variations, but you got to choose the version.
I was thinking you just get a different icon, like a thematic one, like how people download icon packs to like, change
Yeah.
all their skins, all their perks to be Five Nights at Freddy's themed, or like, have Jurassic Park themed icons.
I think the only issue with that is with like variations is you're essentially releasing a whole, not technically since you're releasing a whole nother perk, which then also involves balancing around it. So you're not necessarily addressing the balancing and bloat issue. I like the idea of them being variations.
They'd have to be like better versions of themselves, like in the first place.
And with the idea of releasing like Pop Goes the Weasel on a new killer, so you have 2 different options. I see an issue with people having like, okay, I already own the Clown, so then if I buy this, is it going to cost me less? Like, okay, instead of $8, is it going to cost me $6? Is it going to cost me $6?
Very frequently, like myself, I buy DLCs just for the perks. I don't touch the killer. I don't touch the survivor. I just want the perks on the ones I do.
Or some people want to just play with the power and they don't want the perks. So, like with the Pursue, like those perks aren't that great. It's like you're probably playing just for the power rather than the perks. So.
Right. But like, what if imagine the Grimoire killer releases, no, that would suck because we're probably gonna vote on perks. So that would suck to have them taken away. But like, they have like a low key killer that's very non-development intensive, and they just kind of give him agitation, brutal strength, and unnerving presence. And they just have different icons. And anytime you equip brutal strength, you can either pick the boot icon or the flexing arm icon. Because you bought 2 different killers.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to buy like, one that has a free characters DLCs, you know what I mean? But if it was like, they have Ruin, Devour Hope, and Third Seal, you'd buy somebody that isn't the Hag because you hear how the Hag sucks to play and you want to try someone else, but you want Ruin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think us all kind of struggling to think of a solution really tells the scope of the problem in terms of, but also not even just perks. We have offerings. The offering system right now is just trash. Like, especially survivors. Like, survivor offerings are just like maps don't do anything. The only thing you should be bringing is BP, but even like anything else is just it's
Yeah.
just it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it.
This is
Not a
this is
big
why
fan of all the
I definitely want to keep paying behavior money so that they fix this problem, because they're the only ones who can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and we can only provide feedback, so we got to be as critical as possible.
less perks. I mean, okay. One final note before we move on. Another thing they could do is just combine perks, I think, because some perks are
Yes,
terrible, but I feel like
straight
if
up
you
delete
yes.
some
do
perks.
one, it would be kind of like okay. Like, even if a killer loses a perk, you could just okay, let's say for example, we have like Nia, and we're like, okay, balance landing, not that good. Let's combine it with Vigil. Obviously, they're not going to do that, but let's say they do that. Okay, now Quentin's missing a perk. Simple, just take one of the base perks and give it to him, or better not, ignore old licensed characters because you can't touch them, and make it so originals get 2 perks on release, and then combine all the extra perks into perks that go to the base pool or to new characters. And I think people would be happy.
That would be a
Yeah.
good way to do it. Retroactively make like one perk always general whenever a character comes out.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait though and see. Maybe they have a solution, maybe they don't.
No,
Yeah,
there's
so-
no way we'll come up with anything close to good.
No.
They probably won't
Well,
either. Probably.
No,
Well-
fact. They get paid to do it, and it's hard to still.
Well, Stevie and Bryson, you've said some pretty bad things, and I have a bad thing too to say about Dead by Daylight. And that would be the pricing and just kind of all of it. Specifically, it confounds me that this game is 20 American dollars, 20 Canadian dollars, I don't remember. It's somewhere
And
within
it's
that
going
range.
up in some places.
And it's going I'm getting into that a little bit, don't worry. But you have to buy the game, and then it's modeled like a free-to-play game, where you have to buy the characters, either you grind for it, or you pay for it. Licensed characters, you just have to spend money. There's no other way. You have to spend money. And if you want a specific perk, you either have to get lucky and hope it's in the Shrine of Secrets,
Oh
or
my
B,
god, the
you
shrine
just have
is
to spend
awful.
money. And like, yeah, sometimes the licensed characters perks show up on the shrine, but let's be honest, that doesn't happen super often. And better or worse, it's never the perk you want. Like, when was the last time that Blood Warden was in the Shrine of Secrets? Probably like a couple months ago, maybe years ago. But if you're not doing that and you're solely free to play after you bought the game, you have to wait so long. And like, one of the biggest issues I heard about people being like, oh, Dead by Daylight should be costing money because if it was free to play, there'd be so many hackers. To which I say, there's already hundreds upon thousands of accounts that hackers already have for free when Epic gave it away for one weekend.
Get a better anti-cheat. That is your
Mhm.
solution to that.
Exactly. So I'm just thinking that they should change the pricing of some things. I feel like outfits should be a bit cheaper. I feel like characters should be a little cheaper. Like, I know they reduced them. That's great. I feel like they should go down a bit more. Either that or the game needs to be free, in my opinion. I feel like it has no right being $20 anymore when there's so many free online copies for cheaters to use, and the fact it's modeled the way it is, and they're making millions. I feel like they're at a point where they can make it free to play, and no one would be mad. Overwatch did it, and I don't want to compare apples to oranges, but they're doing just fine. Let the game be free to play. I don't like the pricing. I feel like they're being stingy. And as Bryson alluded to, some places in the world are actually getting updates to the prices to be more expensive for DLC. And I think these included, oh god, let's see if I remember, if I'm smart, UK, South America, hi Java, and 3 other places. I want to say Norway's one of them, but I could be wrong.
They were in Europe, I think.
Yeah, like the European area and it's just and and other places. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
But I don't like that. I think things should be cheaper, especially in this economy. Like, in this economy, I know I'm saying that, but like, with things so expensive in the world, fucking pixels can be a bit cheaper. I think, especially for the base game, which is always on sale and for some
Always.
reason costs money. Just let it be free. Just let it be
Yeah,
free.
DVD. I've always said this. DVD. There's no reason for this 10-year-old game to be pay to play. Like, like you should not have to pay for this game if you are entering it 10 years into its lifespan. Every other live service game with this age is free to play, damn near. Like Rainbow Six Siege went free to play, and like it's just, and they make buku bucks on cosmetics and the licensed chapters and the Rift. Like I'm sure that, like it is monetized like a free to play game. Like you have 3 different currencies. You have a battle pass. Not to say that battle passes aren't for paid games, like Arc Raiders has a battle pass, but it also has a lot of free passes, and they're really, really good. So it's baffling to me that this game is monetized the way it is, and it's not free to play.
Also, never stingy thing. I want to be really stingy here. Every single battle pass I played in a game that's free to play, mind you, they at least at the end of it have a way to earn premium currency, even if a little bit. Dead by Daylight, you don't get any premium currency when you finish the free battle pass. And this in a paid game, in my understanding, my knowledge, is unacceptable in my opinion. The fact that you can't earn like that money because, oh no, people could maybe in a year buy 1 licensed character is fucking bullshit to me. I'm sorry for my language. I'm just really heated about this. Come on, ladies. What are we doing? What are we doing?
It would make so much sense for the game to either outright be cheaper or,
it just needs to be free
bundle
to play.
things together at a faster rate.
It just needs to be free to play.
Big time. I know it's like a lot of people are playing this game free to play effectively through, PlayStation Plus or like
Game Pass.
Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
So it's very much likely that people haven't experienced that, price tag in the moment. People get on board, with a Epic Games free to play weekend or whatever. But it's really feels weird when I'm like trying to tell people about a cool game that you shouldn't pay full price for. Please wait until there's a sale. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird when I'm telling someone that.
It's bizarre. Like it's like oh, what's that game you're playing? It's like, oh, it's 10 years old. Blah blah blah. There's a battle pass. Oh, it's like, and then you have all these characters. Like if you want to spend, if you're new to the game, you spend $20 to get the game. And it's like, okay, cool. You have 5 characters killer wise. On base game.
5.
It's been so long, so I don't remember. But like you have 5, and then you have like 5 or 6 survivors, and it's like, okay, what about all these other killers and survivors? How do I unlock them? Oh, you have to grind these eerie shards that they barely give you. Like even in events, like the Christmas event we just talked about, they were stingy about the eerie shards, and they had to increase the amount, and that has decreased over the last 2 years. Like
exactly.
Like why are we doing this to new players?
Also, the pricing update. Starting February 11th, it is Norway, Poland, UK, and South Africa. So I was half right. Okay. I somehow said an entire region instead of a country because I'm stupid.
It's South America. Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, those 4 countries getting a price increase because I get inflation in the economy, but come on, in the non-free to play game is crazy work. Yeah, in my opinion. What the fuck?
Just make it free to play. Give us all 2,000 Orc cells to our account if we bought it. Don't worry that I bought the game itself for $8, but give me 2,000 cells, please. And then we'll be happy.
Exactly.
That's sorry, one last thing. The lack of premium currency they give out is fucking ridiculous.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Other games will hand it out, like Arc Raiders for their Christmas event. They just gave you $10 worth of premium currency. They just straight up gave it to you only because they had a milestone for players. But that is unprecedented for me as someone who doesn't play live service games often. That just was baffling to me. But to see them so stingy with both blood points and eerie shards in the advent calendar for the Christmas event was really upsetting. The lack, just it's stupid. It is beyond. I don't get it. Their business decisions I don't know. They need someone else in that role.
Yes. All right. Moving on from that, we need to make a decision, ladies. Do we want to talk about the great or the ugly? So this is the best and the worst. Not good and bad, but this is amazing and this is utter bullshit. So Stevie Bryson, we're going to vote. Great or ugly next?
What were you thinking, Bryson?
Do we get both or are we going to cut one?
We're going to do both, obviously. But I'm saying, do we start with the great or do we start with the ugly?
Well, we have been talking a lot about the bad, so maybe we need to, or should we end on a good note and do the great?
Exactly. That's
Oh
what I'm
god, that's
asking.
tough.
Yes. I would say we should go with the ugly so we can end it on a good note.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
because
do that.
we do the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then we sneak in the great after.
There you go.
That makes
Well,
sense.
I'll just finish off no, never mind. I've changed my mind. Stevie,
Oh,
tell us, what is the ugly
coming up real
of Dead by Daylight?
fast. This is something that I kind of touched on a few seconds ago. I think the ugliest part of ZBD is the learning curve. Getting someone new into this game. Let's start there. Like you have a
man.
friend
Oh,
who
God.
will listen to you ramble about your video games, and you want to talk about Dead by Daylight, and all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, I'll play it." That would scare the shit out of me. I would know they would get washed out. I know they would never return. I know there would be no way for somebody to start playing this game if they didn't either already know about it or already have a solid investment in something this game has. The way the game works is really hard to learn. The way you learn things and the way you express your skill is super minute. It's little things. It's saving seconds on interactions. It's perceiving these small tells, little bits of evidence throughout the game that build a greater picture. It's like you're putting together little pieces of sand, and the faster you are at that, the better you are at playing the game. There's so many little things you're gonna have to pick up while playing to even get a chance at like having fun, and that kind of sucks. When you see a new player, it's really obvious that they're new and learning and trying their best, and it's hard to watch sometimes, but other times it's like, well, okay, this is the natural progression point. You have to start somewhere. You have to not know anything to learn something. But it sucks to see somebody who kind of has no chance unless they reach out really deep to get a grasp of what's going on. And there's no real easy way to do that. If somebody wants to learn, somebody wants to get better, they only can find that on like YouTube, watching streamers, watching YouTube videos for hours about how to play the game. Nothing in Dead by Daylight tells you how to play the game other than a tutorial that tells you
A
what the
really
buttons
bad
do.
tutorial.
It just tells you what the prompts are, and the prompts are already like something you would get if you've been like figuring the game out on your own. You don't really need to be told like there's a hook button and like a vault window button. You kind of just have to say, okay, I'm mashing spacebar anytime I want to do something. You just look at it and you say, okay, click on survivors, get as close as you can, don't let them get away. But like, I want to learn. I want to learn the minute parts. I want to learn here's like how you chain a tile together. Here's how to greet a pallet. Here's how to moonwalk. Like, right? Let's give like a killer tutorial where the bot meg will always run to the pallet from a check spot and stun you, and if you don't get the hit, the interaction resets and you have to moonwalk the bot before it recognizes that like you succeeded. I want like tougher tutorials. I want things that actually show interactions in like a small environment. Something that like would effectively have to kind of be a community effort, but I don't think that Dead by Daylight's going to reach out and try and create something for people that theoretically would play the game if it was easier, when it's kind of proven that like you can just kind of sink your teeth in and over hundreds of hours not be a shitter, but still not be good enough to call yourself good at the game. It very frequently is like somebody who's a couple 100 hours in and they're like, I hate this game. I'm not getting any good. There's no way I'm going to beat people who have 10 times my playtime, and I should just give up now. I'm not having fun. And then there's people who have like 800 more hours and they're like, that's fair. I should have given up too. I'm still not having fun. And it's very frequent that like learning this game is a multi-$1,000 endeavor, 1,000-hour endeavor. Whoops. Sometimes it's thousands of dollars if somebody buys all the skins.
Yeah.
But you spent thousands of hours just learning to find your place walking around in the fucking game. There's no way to say it's easy to learn, but I think it could be. I think it could be easier.
Yeah. I'll just add really. Oh, sorry, Bryce.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add really quickly. It's criminal that one of the main gameplay mechanics is looping, and the game tutorial does not tell you what the fuck that is.
Yep.
Like, it doesn't tell you how to run around and use a pallet. It just says, oh, you can throw down the pallet to stop the killer or stun them. Like, not how to use a pallet.
Or use
like,
it as a distraction, as some tooltips will tell you.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't throw down a pallet for no fucking reason. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, like first and foremost, it should be teaching these base things like max distance on the killer, max pump on the generator, stuff like that.
Well, first of all, if any of the listeners are new players, like if you just recently started, you only have like, I don't know, less than 200, 100 hours. If you have just recently started, I would love to hear your new player experience, because I'm sure a lot of people have fun. I know a lot of times I wish I was, I could wipe my memory and start this game over again, because the adrenaline rush of like an asymmetrical
Those first 10 hours are stuck with me.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like it was incredible first time. Like you're scared. You don't know what's going to happen. It was just incredible time. But then, like all games, the community optimizes the hell out of it. And now there's a meta. So you kind of have to learn on your toes. And unfortunately, DVD just throws you in with the tigers. And if you don't know how to swim, you're going to sink for sure. But it's really disheartening for new players, I'm sure, but I'm sure it's also a lot of fun.
Those tigers can swim.
Yeah, and Steve, you mentioned if you don't already have an investment in this, like maybe you're coming back from a long break, or maybe you have a few friends who really enjoy it, and you're like, okay, I'm going to power through this. They're playing it. I want to play with my friends. I commend you for sticking with it, but man, there are just not really any good resources other than YouTube to go out and look. And we've provided an episode with like beginner tips, but that only does so much, right? Like it really just comes down to the amount of time you invest in it. And like there are still killers I'm not great at, and I have 2,000 plus hours into it. There are killers I'm good against, and I like looping, and there's others that I struggle with just because you don't see them often, or there's a tech that you're just not familiar with. And that's another thing. Like you have all this jargon, like techs. Like, unfortunately, looping is like a jargon term that isn't even in the official, like Maddie said, there's no guide or in-game dictionary or anything. Like it's really unfortunate. And man, if what I would do to go back to be a fresh player and experience that and see if I would stick with this game, I don't think I would. But I think because I had folks to play with at the time and they stuck with it, and I kept coming back, and I think the licenses were also a big driver for me. But other than that, I don't know if I would be here if I didn't have anyone else to play with, because it's a tough time out there sometimes. But if you're new to the game and you're listening to us, write in, email us, redstainradio@gmail.com, or comment on the episode. We'll see it there. Or just join the Discord and tell us about it there, because I would really love to hear your perspective. And that'd be kind of a cool episode to maybe bring people on and talk about their first times. That'd be kind of cool. But I digress. But anyway.
Right. I feel like there is something worth it in learning the game, though. To me personally, it's like I have gotten good enough that I feel like I'm an artist at work, and I'm like doing something that took me so long to do, and I'm having fun just, painting. And I think that's what it's for, is you really sink your fucking teeth into it.
Another idea I had, maybe another community event we have in the future, is like a boot camp for new players, like how to loop, jargon, stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. If people
turn yourself into God's gift to DBD.
Yeah. Stand up. No, listen here.
Line up, soldiers.
So, moving on from our little topic of the learning curve. There you go.
Yeah.
Bryson, why don't you tell us about your ugly after by Taylor?
Tell us about your ugly.
Your ugly.
Yeah, my ugly. Yeah, my ugly kind of ties back into some of the themes we've already talked about, but it's much more conceptual and overarching. And that's really, I think, the lack of addressing behavior has done, and I would say the facade they put on in primarily the community events and maybe some of their videos they were released, especially leading up to the anniversary chapter, in that DBD has had an amazing year. I don't think it has. I think we've talked about this year. It's been a rough go around for the community, for the chapters they've released, the content, just the foundation of the game being very buggy. Like, we just got a really good update overall, mostly great. Still some bugs though. Them struggling to squash bugs that have been in the game for months, like Deathslinger's aiming bug. Like I guess that's fixed. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it, but like they in streams, it's the community streams are a good thing. I like them. I think they're very chill, but I think a lot of times they seem I don't know how to say it, like just I don't want to say fake. Like I think they're genuinely happy and stuff, but the lack of addressing the problem DBD has had this year, like it's been really rough. And so they released an anniversary video, like, oh, we've had a really good year. No, you haven't. Your PR in terms of your public relations with the game this year, it's been ass. Like it's been total dog shit. It's been all over the place. Like, yes, you just released a great Stranger Things chapter, but that does not make up for everything else you've done this year. So we're kind of bookended here with kind of two cool chapters. We have Springtrap and then we have Stranger Things, or FNAF, I should say. And so, but everything in between that was just kind of a muddled mess. And I really dislike the lack of vision players have, referring back to our conversation earlier about a DBD2, the lack of vision of the future of DBD other than content. Yes, we know content is coming. We know there are going to be a bazillion chapters next year, but we know nothing else about what is coming. There's no game plan. That's my dog barking in the background. I apologize. There's no roadmap beyond up until the anniversary. Like we have nothing. Like, and that to me for a live service game, that just seems baffling. I just don't like, we have no sense of vision for what the future of DBD holds other than content. And that for one makes me kind of sad, because what is going to happen to this game? Like, I don't want it to die. I just wanted to see it reborn and improve. And I think just the lack of knowledge there and how secret it is. Yes, I'm sure they're finalizing things. And I really hope we hear things in the anniversary live stream. But that really worries me. And I think that is maybe the ugliest blemish behavior as a studio and a developer has. And I think that's just that's the anchor really holding down this game from being what it could be.
I agree wholeheartedly. I especially like the word you used, a blemish. It definitely feels like that. Kind of like this thing they're like, oh no, it's not that big of a deal. But it kind of is big of a deal, because I feel like they had similar years to this, like i.e. the Twins year, where they released the Twins and it was super buggy. And it also had a lot of problems with like just general balance. People were unhappy, and overall weren't very great feelings towards the game, which was kind of what we were in recently until Stranger Things, I'd say, where it kind of got like the kickback. But I feel like this happened at least twice, where they do several patches of bugginess or just poor content, poor balancing. People get mad. They release one good update, they're forgiven, and repeat the cycle. And it definitely feels like I would like them to address it wholeheartedly and as a collective, rather than isolated events. Blah.
And we have the quality of life videos, like they address it there. But I don't think it's a community manager and one of the dev balancing gentlemen that I don't recall their name, but like I don't think that is enough. Like I think it should come from the top. Like I think it is very much an executive thing. Like I think Matthew Cote should be there. I think, or whoever's above him should be there. Like it's just baffling that we have not gotten anything beyond that. We've had a long apology video or posts about, the Chandler Riggs stream or whatnot, but like I just want them to address this shit show of a year, and they just haven't. So
I don't think they expected like the momentum they got after Five Nights at Freddy's to just lead them into the ground. They stumble hard in the summer, and it kind of just tumbled them through the winter, and they couldn't get their footing back until Stranger Things. but like
Yeah.
they had to wait a little bit longer because things were getting rushed, and it was evidence internally and externally that they had to slow down, patch some things, and slow their release schedule. It's a warning sign more than anything. It's not like this is the end for Dead by Daylight. It's not like that ruined everyone's idea of it. Was just one community stream that got, flooded with, bots and hackers. But it's evidence that like they don't really play the game live in a respectful way. They might just test it internally. They might look at numbers, but they definitely don't see the player base kind of existing as more than a wallet.
Yeah, and even the players they got from the anniversary, FNAF, and all that, they've lost all those players. I mean, maybe not all of them, but like we're back down to what DBD used to be, like that normal state rate. If you go look at least for Steam charts, is what I'm referring to. But like if you look at those Steam charts, like they're back down to where I think they used to be. So before that, so they've kind of hemorrhaged those players.
Console numbers probably look similar, not like numerically equal, but like trends probably similar.
Like looking roughly at their thing, they had about 40 to 50,000, and as of recently, it's 40 to 50,000 again.
Yeah, so they've hemorrhaged all of those new players, or at least there's been a mixture of new players who've stuck with it and then veterans who've left. But I regularly see like, hey, I'm putting this game down for a while. Like people do that naturally with games, but like I know just this year has been taking a toll on folks, and so it just sucks to see them not address it that way.
Well, that is another ugly to add to our list of uglies, and we have one more ugly from little old me. And
bring us down, Maddie.
Yes. Drum roll, please, for my ugly.
The final.
For me, my ugly is license fatigue and how licenses are treated. And I have a few examples of this, starting with the most recent, Michael Myers. If you don't know, this one's more of
my boy. They butchered my
paints
boy.
a larger picture for the issues I have, where they lost the licenses for Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and Haddonfield, aka the Halloween chapter, because for reasons unknown to us, but most likely because of the Halloween game being released by a different company, and probably because they didn't want the two IPs to compete, they did not renew the license, and sadly we lost Michael Myers. And that kind of just adds to my complaint of licenses as a whole for this game, because I understand licenses draw the most numbers, they're the most popular, they are the reason why people are here, but it's gone to a point where I feel like we have so many. For example, last year, a year before that, we got like 3-4 licenses and one original. This year, we got Springtrap, we got the Cursu, we're getting the Vecna, the first, and then we're going to have the original chapter with maybe an original survivor, and then the year 10 anniversary, which according to leaks is either going to, well, not according to leaks, but according to rumors, there we go, is either going to be our make your own chapter or it's going to be a big license. Meaning, at best case scenario, we got one original killer and 1.5 maybe original survivors before the anniversary. So for a whole year, we got basically 2 original characters. That feels bad. With a world so rich and complicated as Dead by Daylight, especially when you look at stuff like the rifts and the tomes, it really fucking sucks when all they do is licensing. Like, looking back at the Dracula, Lich, and Chucky, I remember the last one now, we got those 3, and the Howmaster. We got we got 2 original characters, 1 killer, 1 survivor, and then the rest were licenses. There was no originality, and I think that is really annoying. And if we look at maps, it's a little better. Like, we got 2 original maps last year, I'd say. And then this year, we got none. We got no new maps yet, which is going to be our next update where we get the new round that they're super excited about, which I'm looking forward to. But the fact is, we got a chapter's worth of original content, and then everything else was licensed. That's another problem I have with licenses. The final thought about licenses that make me really annoyed about them is when they do licenses, they sometimes do it poorly even, and it really sucks. Let's talk about Pinhead and the NFT controversy. If you guys don't know, aka listeners and viewers, when Pinhead was teased and put on the PTB, they didn't do it through Clive Barker because Clive Barker didn't have the original rights to the movie. Instead, it was the company that helped make it. I think it was Warner Bros. Don't quote me on that. I'm very
Yeah,
young,
it
as you
was
can see.
Warner.
And they were very into the NFT era because that was kind of when NFTs were popping off. Remember NFTs?
Gross.
And part of this deal was Behavior had to do a sponsorship for Pinhead NFTs using the model they were going to use for Dead by Daylight. And they teased stuff like, oh, we're going to add new skins if we reach certain market goals. People did not like it. People hated it. And then there's other drama where the original voice actor for Pinhead was ready and available to voice him, and they didn't go with him. And it's just stuff like that where if they don't fully commit to the license and don't put a lot of effort, which thankfully they've done a lot recently, it gets fucked up and it feels gross. And it's kind of the reason why I think Pinhead got originally taken out. Also because Clive Barker got the rights back and he was like, I don't really like this in the game. But I can't help but feel like it's also how they treated licenses, which kind of brings my ugly altogether. Licenses have been too plentiful, I think, in the game, to the point where sometimes some slip through the cracks, and it feels bad if you're a fan of that. Because things like for me, I'm a FNAF fan. My license that I wanted for so long didn't get fucked up. It was perfect. But if you're a Pinhead fan, you're probably bang your head against a wall, like, why the fuck did they do that? And then it got removed. You probably want to cry, maybe even kill yourself. Don't do that, but you get the point. Licenses have gotten to a point, I think, in Dead by Daylight where, as much as I love them, I think they should take a step back for half a year. Like, have it be 50% licensed, 50% original. I think that would be great. Instead of doing 90% and then 10%, because I think that's dumb. Thoughts, ladies?
No, you're so onto it.
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
I am a much bigger fan of the unlicensed content, the original lore that they cook up, the original killer's powers. Really fucking scratch an itch for me because they're not trying to like ham fist a power on top of a character. They're able to just make it an expression of their character rather than, you know, have to fit within the bounds of a character.
Exactly. Like characters like Light, the Plague, Howmaster, they wouldn't be here if they just did licenses 24/7. It's the fact that they're allowed to be original and try new things that we get to see these amazing characters come to life. And as much as I love licenses, I'm glad they're doing it. I feel like it would not be a crime, or I feel like people wouldn't be too upset if they just said, we're putting a strict 50-50% for releases from licensed and original. Half the chapters will be original, half will be licensed. I feel like that would be a great, like, truce, I think, between both sides, because not only would it allow them to put more quality into these licenses, making sure there's a lot of content for those fans, it would also build up hype and stop it from being like, oh, more content, more licenses, more content, more licenses. It gives a bit of breathing room if you're only here for the licenses or if they're the original. And they could even do it like on a kind of like a pattern where it's our original license anniversary. That would be amazing. I think that'd be amazing. And also that would allow the anniversaries, if I'm smart and not dumb, which it would allow the anniversaries to be kind of like doing a pattern of year 9 license, year 10 original, year 11 license, and it would kind of like build up hype, like, oh, what's this big original chapter going to be, or who's this mystery license going to be? I feel like that would be fun.
I would like that. I would like a lot more like solid structure in that ratio.
Exactly, especially with this year. Oh. Now we're going to be moving on to a brighter note for this very long episode. The great, the amazing, the peaceful, the resistance. And we're going to start with you, Stevie. What is
Start
the
it up.
great of Dead by Daylight?
I really, really, really think the best part about the game is the theme itself. I have like gone back and forth on like other PvP games, and Dead by Daylight just always kind of hooks me in because I want to play a horror game, but I want to play with other people, and I want to play against people. So it's that perfect mash. I don't think Dead by Daylight is a horror game. Maybe you could say your first few matches are scary until you get a feel for it and stop getting spooked by the killer themselves. But it's not a horror game. You're preparing generators and running away from a slasher. But it's like horror themed entirely. I think that the theme is what draws a lot of people in. I think a lot of people are already really, really, really into horror stuff. And a lot of people who know that about themselves are kind of looking for anything to bring it all together. And Dead by Daylight kind of becomes like, you know, your personality, in that you see everything you like mixed together in this game. You see all the icons of horror games and horror properties, and everything is seamlessly integrated into the Dead by Daylight experience. You could just end up against any number of licensed killers from different stuff. You could play any of them at your own whim. It kind of gives each of these horror characters their own little game itself. But I think that the theme of Dead by Daylight is what allows everything horror to exist within it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just like everyone Smash Bros together. It's the Dead by Daylight universe is big enough to fit everything horror under its umbrella. Even though it's not itself a horror game, it kind of goes beyond horror. It's the horror fans game. And I see this little loop in my head where, like, when I first got into the game, I really, really wanted to explore all the franchises that Dead by Daylight had incorporated into itself. I was binging Texas Chainsaw movies. I was watching The Nightmare on Elm Streets. I was watching Alien again. And all of this stuff makes me just totally want to experience every type of horror games that kind of have a more linear and narrative experience, horror movies that aren't in the game but are like fresh stuff. Speaking of, I just watched Iron Lung today, and holy fuck, that movie is amazing. Go watch Markiplier's Iron Lung.
Markiplier.
Very
and
cool.
To that point, when I go watch other horror movies or I play other horror games, I leave the theater of Iron Lung being like, Dead by Daylight would be cool if they had Markiplier in it. So I immediately think of Dead by Daylight when I think of and play anything horror, or when I watch horror, I think about Dead by Daylight. So it's synonymous with horror as a theme to me. It's not a horror game. It's not a scary game. It's not a survival horror crafting whatever. It's run around parkour, but it's horror theme.
Parkour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to piggyback off that, because, and I'll just share my great, because it's very much in that realm, and that is Dead by Daylight is the horror Hall of Fame. Like, it is,
Bingo.
It is.
Speak to that.
Granted, it doesn't have all of the greatest hits. You know, there are some glaring omissions, but we have some time, and we have year 10 ahead of us yet. So, and you know, it's introduced new IP to me as someone who loves horror. I had never seen Hellraiser before Pinhead had gotten into the game. I watched it because of DVD getting the license. I also did the same thing with Onryo and the Ringu. Like, it really does a great job at introducing you to. I did that with Tokyo Ghoul. I watched the show, although I didn't watch all of it, and I didn't like it that much. But I like it. It genuinely introduced you to a whole new realm of horror movies and shows and comics and manga and whatever, like things that you had maybe never tried, but you were going to try it because of DVD getting it. Or you, like you mentioned, CV, you leave the theater because you just saw a movie. I was like, oh, that would be a cool DVD collab. Like it's really cool to see our brains geared, or maybe even anchored towards CBD because we're horror fans. Or you'll have people who aren't even horror fans at all, and they play the game, and then they're just kind of thrust into this world, and then they can start becoming horror fans. Like, you know, I've seen that with people as well. So yeah, it's and then we even have like original horror things in this game. Like, you know, we've mentioned the play, we've mentioned Trapper, you know, we also have the Nurse and Huntress, and like all really cool themes that span the spectrum of different types of horror, whether that be body horror or maybe something a little more on the silly side. It's like it's really incredible what they've done, and whatever you say, there is nothing else in any entertainment industry like it. Like, yes, we have Super Smash Bros, but that's mostly Nintendo characters. Like the majority is owned by Nintendo. Yeah, you have some other third party stuff in there, but like DBD just really bashes a lot of stuff in there. People could say Fortnite, but like Fortnite is just a skin. There's no
Fortnite.
perks associated. You're not going to a map. There's a power associated with it. So they've done a really good job.
Each
at
Fortnite
kind of,
skin doesn't have like something unique that separates
yeah,
it apart. It's just a price tag. It's just,
At the
did
end
you
of the
buy it?
day, they all do the gritty the same.
They all do the gritty. I mean, some of them have like different animations so that they don't do upskirts with a couple models, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only difference that a Fortnite skin will have.
Yeah, and I think some of the adaptations of killers, like from License to Power, are really good. Like I think Stranger Things, Vecna has adapted really well. But then there are others that are maybe lackluster, and that's okay. Like, I think when Springtrap was revealed and he had a fire axe, I was like, oh, that is bizarre, and it was a little underwhelming to me. I'm okay with it now because I think he's fun to play against, but yeah, I think they've done a phenomenal job for most licenses in terms of adapting them. And if they hadn't done them great at the beginning, they reworked them to make them great, like Freddy. So they've done a good job with a majority of the licenses.
Mm-hmm. So moving on from that combo greatness with Stevie and Bryson,
Maddie,
I
what do
will
you
go on
love?
to my great, and the final thing we'll be talking about tonight. My great for Dead by Daylight is the fact that artists locally and like part of the community can collaborate with Dead by Daylight and have their creations added to the game. This
Yeah.
was done for the last couple of years, but also it's just done in collaboration with the store directly. They have artists who are like super, super popular, but like very like new artists just making pieces and then having that added to the game as free cosmetics. I think is really cool. And we get to see these really fun interpretations of the characters. Like Puddles, the clown, is really funny, and that was designed by an artist. Or what about Fang Min and her demon kind of
Oh, the
cosmetic?
Demon Hunter one where she's got the mask on the back of her head and she's got the bright red
Exactly.
jacket.
And like
That one's
looking
a
at more of the recent
classic.
ones, we have the Cave Vampire Hunter, which if you haven't seen the interview with me and her, you should go watch it.
Is
Check it
that
out.
skin out
Also,
yet? That skin better be out tomorrow or I'll
exactly.
riot.
later
I think it's gonna be a
this
little
year.
bit. I think it's a couple months, but
Yeah, it's
when
true.
it comes out, oh, you know I'm getting it. But there's also stuff like the Gabe skin that came out recently, along with the Dredge, which look amazing, and these were all designed by independent artists. And I just love that Dead by Daylight serves as a place to not only have like artists do work and have it in the game. It has a lot of collaboration. People are interacting, supporting one another. And even for the cosmetics that don't get in the game that people really want, like the Megalodon skin, I think it's really cute that everyone's like,
Yeah.
we want her in the game so bad. And everyone's super supportive and wanting other people to get a chance. And I think that's really sweet. And that's not even talking about stuff like the badges, the banners. And I think it's really sweet. I think it's cute. I love it. I love my artists. To all my artists, listeners, viewers, you are loved by me. I love you. Well, also all listeners and viewers, but this is particularly
Actually, no, you have to be an artist. Otherwise, get the fuck out of here.
Only the creatives. We only want highbrow listeners.
Well, we're gonna call that the episode, ladies. So before we close off, I want
On
to
this
say
nice,
that
juicy podcast.
thank you all for being here this week. But folks, don't forget to join our Discord if you haven't already, or send us an email at redstainradio@gmail.com. Drop us a review on Spotify or Apple, and share the podcast with someone you love, hate, or think would be an amazing artist or is an artist. We greatly appreciate the support. Thank you, Stevie and Maddie, Bryson, Herm, who let that one in. Thank you so much, listeners and viewers, and we'll see you in the fog next week.